Hey everyone, this is Pallavi, and today we are diving into the 18th game of the book, The Most Instructive Games of Chess Ever Played by Erwin Chernoff. This was called The Isolated Pawn, a classic battle between Emanuel Lasker and Lasker-Tarrasch, played in St. Petersburg back in 1914. The opening was the Queen's Gambit declined. An isolated pawn might look weak, but it's not that easy to take down. Lasker shows us exactly how it's done. He targets the pawn, then goes after its defenders, and even the pawns backing those defenders. In the end, he wins a rook for a knight and two pawns. It's a brilliant example of converting a small edge into a win. Let's check it out. So, white started with d4 and then d5, knight f3, c5, attacking the central pawn, c4, e6. Tarrasch favors this defense, calling it the best, though he's almost alone in that view. His reasoning in the Queen's Gambit, c5 is a free move for black, allowing for active piece play, though it comes at the cost of isolating the d pawn. C takes d5, e takes d5, and then g3, making way for the bishop. Knight c6, bishop g2, knight f6. Kingside castle, and then bishop e7, now white captured, d takes c5, black captured, bishop takes c5. Tarrasch is confident in the position, saying white has no positional equivalent for the centralized pawn. White played knight b d2. The usual knight c3 lets black gain a tempo with d4. Instead, white plans to reroute the knight to b3, then d4 to blockade the isolated pawn. So after knight b d2, black played d4. Black wastes a move that could have aided development like kingside castle. Nimzowitsch rightly notes the isolated pawn has the choice of becoming weak at d5 or d4. Knight b3, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes to b6, and now white played a good move, queen to d3. Lasker fixes the pawn, making it immobile, and now threatens rook d1, attacking it with 4 pieces. Black played bishop e6, developing the bishop, rook d1, and now black captured, bishop takes b3. The exchange removes a piece, attacking the pawn, but gives white the two bishops advantage. Queen takes b3. Now Lasker threatens to attack the pawn, the d pawn, by e3. Queen e7. White played another good move, bishop to d2, a subtle move, stronger than the obvious bishop f4. Black castled on the king side, and now white played another good move, which is a4. Tarrasch calls it an unusually fine move. The pawn will advance to a5, then a6 to undermine the queen side, especially the knight, which is the defender of the d4 pawn. Now, black played knight e4, capturing the e2 pawn with queen takes e2 would be fatal because rook e1, queen a6, and then bishop a1, black's queen is caught. Knight e4, bishop e1, and then rook a d8, a5. The bold pawn is backed up by the bishop, smartly placed on e1, and also the rook is protecting it. Bishop c5, and then white played a6, targets the knight's support, a defender of the isolated pawn. b6. Actually here, black captured b takes a6, but if the alternative, the b6, allows queen a4, rook c8 supporting the knight, and then rook b1 followed by b4, driving off the bishop and winning the d pawn. So black captured b takes a6, and then rook a c1, rook c8, and then knight h4. So after this move, something must give. The immediate threat is bishop takes e4, queen takes e4, and then rook takes c5, winning a piece for white. And now black played bishop to b6, probably the best option. If knight d8, Then knight f5, queen e5, bishop takes e4, queen takes e4, knight d6. White wins the exchange with a pin and knight fork. If bishop d6 instead, then knight f5 attacks the queen, which defends the knight and bishop. If queen e5, then bishop takes e4, black cannot recapture queen takes e4 because of the rook takes e5. So black played bishop to b6, now white played knight f5, queen e5, bishop takes e4, queen takes e4, and then knight d6. Fork. Queen takes e2, knight takes c8, rook takes c8. Black has lost a rook for a knight and two pawns, but the isolated pawn is now a passed pawn and could become dangerous. So white played queen to d5 and now queen e6. Saving the knight another way would teach a tactical lesson. For example, if knight e7 instead, then rook takes c8 check, knight takes c8, queen a8 pinning the knight, queen e8, and then rook c1, knight d6 unpinning the knight, queen takes e8 check, knight takes e8, rook c8 again pinning the knight, king f8, bishop b4 check, king g8, and rook takes e8. It's a checkmate, the exposed last rank. So after queen d8, black played queen e6 supporting the c6 knight, queen f3. This is stronger than exchanging queens, it keeps up the pressure. Now black played h6, bishop d2. Tarrasch avoids exchanging rooks, which he offers next move, but faces this. Now white is planning to play rook e1, followed by queen d7, rook c4 to double rooks on the c file, and then knight a5. Because if knight e7, then rook takes e7 wins a piece. So knight a5 and then rook e7, queen takes e7, rook takes c8 check, king h7, bishop takes a5, bishop takes a5, and now queen f5 check wins the bishop by double attack. So that's why here white played bishop d2 and rook e1 is the idea. Now black played knight e5, rook takes c8 check, queen takes c8, queen e4 attacking the knight, knight d7, rook c1 attacking the queen, queen f8, and then white played another good move, bishop takes h6. Lasker is always alert. The exposed knight's position costs black a pawn. Black played knight c5 because if j takes h6, then queen g4 check followed by queen takes d7, white regains the piece and maintains a dominating position. So after knight c5, queen g4 and then f5. Now white played queen g6. This offers black to offer a queen exchange. This forces black to offer a queen exchange as he cannot fend off the invaders otherwise. White has two winning threats. One is rook e1 followed by rook e8 pinning the queen, and another is b4 attacking the knight, and when the knight moves away, let's say to d7, and then rook c8 pinning the queen, queen takes rook, and then queen takes g7 is a checkmate. So that's the idea white has now. Queen g6, now queen f7, queen takes f7 check, king takes f7, bishop g5 saving the bishop. Now black played knight d3 attacking the rook and the b2 pawn. Now white played rook b1 because if rook c2, then knight e1 attacking the rook followed by knight f3 gaining the bishop by fork. So white supported by rook b1 and then king e6, b3, king d5, f3. These pawn moves b3 and f3 prevent the king from advancing and helping the d-pawn. Now after f3, a5, h4, knight c5, h5, d3, king f1, a4. Tarrasch aims to remove white's b-pawn either by exchange or other means. His king could then advance to c4, c3 and c2, turning the passed pawn into a crucial serious threat. So after a4, white captured b takes a4, then knight takes a4. Now white played a brilliant move, bishop f6, a surprise for Tarrasch. It wins a pawn and clears a path for the h pawn. King e6. Capturing with G takes f6 loses instantly to h6 as the pawn cannot be stopped. And if bishop d4 also fails as bishop takes d4, king takes d4 and rook to b4 check wins the knight. So after king e6, now white played bishop takes g7. Black played king f7, bishop e5, knight c5, and then white played rook d1 and black resigned. Because white is planning to play bishop d4, followed by bishop takes c5, and finally win the d pawn. Remarkable given how long it survived as an isolated pawn. A great example of how Lasker turns a small weakness into a win. Step by step, he builds pressure, breaks down the defense, and finishes with perfect tactic. A true lesson in how to win a one game. Both Alekhine and Tarrasch praised the elegance of Lasker's positional and tactical play in this game. So now look at the lessons learned from this game. Number one is isolated pawns are double-edged. They can be a weakness or a strength. White blockaded and targeted black's isolated pawn. Black tried to use it as a central force, but ultimately it became a long-term liability. Number two, blockade first, then attack. Lasker didn't rush. He first blockaded the isolated pawn, then gradually increased pressure. This shows the classic principle: blockade, then attack defenders, then capture weakness. Number three, positional play can lead to tactical gains. By improving his position, Lasker created tactical opportunities. One small advantage snowballed into a decisive material gain. Number 4. Piece coordination is everything. Lasker used all his pieces harmoniously, especially his rooks and queen, to dominate the board. Each move had purpose, aiming to control key files and diagonals. And number 5, convert with care. Even with an advantage, Lasker stayed accurate and didn't rush. His precise play in the endgame, especially activating the h-pawn, shows how to close a game cleanly. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the lesson clear and picked up something useful. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit like, drop a comment and share it around, and subscribe to show some support to the channel. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.